Let's talk about the 360, specifically about the prices. Specifically about specific games.
So with the explosion of the Xbox 360 market in recent times,
they're rising in price.
Xbox 360 apocalypse.
Some incredible price
Xbox 360 and how prices are going up for it.
Buy physical copies now before they continue to grow.
Extortionate amount of money for it.
$20 to $200 overnight.
This continues to go up and up and up and up.
Games like Concept Saga, triple or quadruple.
The 60 version is like $50.
Probably notice a pretty significant uptick in Xbox 360 game prices.
Starting at the end of 23/beginning of 24, prices across a specific group of 360 games started to spike. Those games were originally in the $10 to $50 range. Now, it's normal for prices to rise gradually over time as supply dwindles and demand for such product increases. You know, it's basic stuff. But when prices spike like this, there has to be a trigger. Of course, this is nothing new. I've warned you about similar behavior in 2014 around surging prices of Godzilla games. In that instance, it was due to the hype surrounding the long-awaited return of the terrible Thunder Lizard, who is actually a guardian of Earth and friend to all children and Jet Jaguar. His big return to Western screens. But what could it be for 360 games? I mean, it could be that everyone and their brother and sister all had the urge to go out and buy 360 games all at the same time, but that doesn't really make sense, especially for the obscure titles. But yeah, why ignore the elephant in the room?
They say all good things come to an end.
Like this, and I'm happy I have my Xbox 360 game collection physically back.
That being the Xbox 360.
They're for sure shutting down the store.
Go check out the Xbox 360 store.
Longer be able to download games.
A bit more difficult to buy games.
A lot of talk and hype going around.
The Xbox 360 store is taken down forever.
I wish they wouldn't shut it down.
For the Xbox 360.
These games are going to be going away forever.
Racing hundreds of digital-only games.
I wish these things were future-proof instead of just halfway future-proofed.
So it's true, Microsoft announced the shutdown of the 360 marketplace. But what about the supply of physical is endangered by this announcement? That announcement happened last year in August. There was a ton of corresponding coverage then, and some titles saw a slight boost like Zoid's Assault or Darkest of Days, but that doesn't explain why prices started surging around the new year. I mean, did people make it their New Year's resolution to buy 360 games? I couldn't find any videos reminding gamers about the closure, nor any news articles from primary outlets, nor did Microsoft remind you in their official Xbox wire. However, I did find some Reddit threads around the time regarding the topic. So let's talk about fear. No, not fear files, which shot up nearly $20 overnight. It's our fear that these games are going somewhere. In the context of the 360 store, it's our ability to access these games. So let's attack that fear. I mean, we all know that games can be ripped off a store at any time, but Microsoft announced that all compatible games can be purchased on later Xbone and Series platforms. All your previously purchased games can also be re-downloaded, and multiplayer servers remain active provided the publisher doesn't shut them down. But even if you couldn't download from the marketplace on 360, well, do I really need to explain how the internet works? And yeah, unless games are lost, destroyed, or well-loved to the point where nobody wants that abuse disc inside their Xbox, the thousands, millions of these games, they're not going anywhere. So why are people afraid of missing the opportunity to lock on an obscure game when what they really should be afraid of is being manipulated? Is it the popular games that are selling at an alarming premium? Well, that can't be true, as a few months ago, no, not Dark Souls, nope to Darksiders, nope to Transformers Dark Side of the Moon, no Dark Sector, Dark Void, Perfect Dark Zero, Alone in the Dark, Risen 2, Dark Waters, Dark Messiah, Dragon's Dogma, Dark Arisen, Chronicles of Riddick, Assault on Dark Athena, or the Dark Editions of Skylander, Supercharger, Swap Force, or Trap Team. Jeez, just finding the right keyword to buy this game is difficult. This specific Dark game usually had less than 10 copies on US-only eBay and sold for less than $10, but 6 months ago. What about demand? Is the demand outpacing supply? If that's true, who wanted Dark? It was considered a meh game at the time. Metal Gear, sneaky game with vampires and okay graphics and sound. Nobody wanted it then, and nobody knew about it until 6 months ago. Ride the Hell Retribution. Oh man, it also received poor reviews because mainly it was a broken game, then a $15 to $20 meme game, now a $50 game. Probably still a meme game. Is it unpopular games, huh? That nobody wants, that become expensive? Well, if that were true, there are so many color dinosaur games on the Wii, so yeah, that can't be it either. With all this talk about tracking prices of games like stocks, I mean, you would think there are people who treat them that way. Hint, there are. While most of us are looking for the games we want at the best deals we can find, there are some looking at deals in an entirely different way.
This is something that was emailed to me by, we'll just call him Tom. I've watched your YouTube channel for some time now, and I've always felt you exaggerate how, in quotes, resellers can drive up prices. So I did an experiment on eBay. With no intent of really making money, I put some thought into what game I was going to, quote-unquote, drive up the price. After some time, I committed to a game and started buying them up. This has been going on for over a year now, and I will say I was able to get the, quote, average price from around $3 to $4 to around $25, give or take. And we can confirm this via price charting.
Yep.
And the game he chose was Rampart for Game Boy. Not the Game Boy Color version, but the regular gray Rampart.
So that was a listener who wrote into the CU podcast in 2015 about manipulating the price of Rampart in the original Game Boy. And it provides some insight into how sellers look for products within their niche of expertise. If sellers want to find a good deal, then they want to sell it to a buyer at a higher price. If, it makes good money, sells fast, they buy it. And while a lot of people would like to place blame solely on the sellers, I'm not going to leave non-sellers out of the mix either, for it's like 99% of you who talk about the price or use words like rare, which is really just a commodity of availability, whether or not the word price is mentioned at all. Attuned buyers notice special games which are relatively cheap or low in supply and either add them to their library or sell them. We all buy low. Some sell high. And $10 to $50 is relatively cheap. You mix in some hysteria about the 360 nostalgia, the closing of an era, and, well, you've got the perfect recipe for an unnatural spike. Seal 99 Nights too. Should I sell it? Spikes are unnatural, and they bring unnatural problems. We all know that the price of a game varies by condition. Those prices, loose, complete, new, will fluctuate in accordance with each other like a dance, except these partners rarely touch each other. The change is gradual, so it's easier to gauge where the price lands based on its condition. Let's roll back the clock to 2014, March to be exact. If I priced a loose little Samson on the NES for $1,000, when everybody was pricing theirs between $300 and $400, I would have been laughed at. That same $1,000 price is now seen as a bargain, as buyers have adjusted the market to a point where the little Samson goes for $2,000 to $3,000. The point is, when prices spike overnight, it's hard to tell what's a normal price or even a bargain. You have no more point of reference since the floor has dropped out. Further, because this surge is outstepping what people naturally put into the market, the buying pool dwindles rapidly as they can't keep up. People just don't have the money to buy right now. But that's the thing about a price spike. It doesn't last forever. They call it a spike for a reason. Yeah, remember when the GameCube shot up during 2020 to 2022? The prices have fallen, even though they're still trending upward. Meaning, if you were here crying over why you delayed when prices were there, you probably never thought you'd see this price again later. Alright, so now that we've seen the 360 market perform under pressure, have the big players been established? And who's primarily buying these games? I'd like to know. Why weren't they buying them a year ago, when they were cheaper, when that announcement was made? Well, we all have our formula, of course, for what's going on. Care to share yours? And remember, play the game!
Thanks for the information, but I'd like to stay here with you and die. What?